Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump's director of national intelligence, is now getting blasted and branded as a liar. And there are very few Republicans coming to her defense. First, here's Democrat Jim Himes, ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee.
What you saw from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was not just a lie, but a very dangerous lie, because when you start throwing around language like sedition and treason, somebody's going to get hurt. Now, you pointed out that the Senate committee, then led by Marco Rubio, a Republican and now Secretary of State, found unanimously that Russia meddled in the election to try to assist Donald Trump.
But despite that bipartisan unanimous agreement that Russia tried to meddle in the 2016 election, Tulsi Gabbard is now claiming Russia did not meddle in the 2016 election because Russia did not have success hacking voting machines or vote tabulation systems. There is a difference between trying to meddle and actually changing votes. But that distinction has been lost on Gabbard, who is calling Barack Obama treasonous for not telling the American people that Russia failed, even though President Obama said Russia failed in a December 2016 press conference. We will show you Mr. Obama in a moment, but here's Tulsi Gabbard over the weekend on Fox News.
The fact that we had in President Obama and his leadership team people who did not want to accept the will of the American people in electing Donald Trump in 2016, and therefore cooked up this treasonous conspiracy to, again, try to effectively, and they did effectively, launch a years-long coup against the sitting president of the United States.
President Obama did not want to accept the will of the American people in electing Donald Trump in 2016, and therefore cooked up a treasonous conspiracy about Russia helping Trump. Except that Barack Obama stated very clearly after the 2016 election that Russia did not hack any voting machines or tabulation systems, and that the 2016 election results were clean and should be trusted.
That there was not the kind of tampering with the voting process that was of concern and will continue to be of concern. Going forward, that the votes that were cast were counted. They were counted appropriately. We have not seen evidence of machines being tampered with. So that assurance I can provide.
Seems pretty clear, right? Many Republicans, including those with a high-profile perch on Fox News, are ripping Tulsi Gabbard's attack on Obama. Fox News contributor Andrew McCarthy just wrote a scathing op-ed noting that Gabbard issued a, quote, overwrought and misleading press release rather than an analytical report. McCarthy added, there's good reason to wonder whether Gabbard speaks with other intelligence officials in the Trump administration or even reads CIA reports, because when it comes to that agency's findings on Russian interference, no new light is shed on this episode by Gabbard's disclosures. Here again is Congressman Himes.
Now, what Tulsi is doing, it's a little sleight of hand, but it's worth focusing on. She is saying that the Intelligence Committee early on said that the Russians could not use cyber tools to mess with the voting infrastructure, the machines that tally our votes. And that was true then, and it is true now. Though the Russians tried to break into a couple of states, election technical infrastructure, they didn't do it. But it is well known and well established that the Russians hacked into the DNC and undertook any number of other influence operations, including buying reams of Facebook ads to discredit Hillary Clinton. That is not in contention, right?
But Tulsi Gabbard seems to be trying to rewrite history and bolster Donald Trump's claim that Russia did absolutely nothing to help Trump win in 2016. Trump himself has called the entire Russia influence efforts a total hoax because Trump cannot or will not accept even the suggestion that Russia was trying to help him win the presidency over Hillary Clinton. The question with Tulsi Gabbard is, why is she trying to help Trump now on all of this and stir up MAGA world against Barack Obama? Well, consider the timing. For the past several weeks, Donald Trump has been getting slammed by his own supporters over his refusal to release the Epstein files. And there's been a steady stream of revelations about Donald Trump's 15-year close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. With much of MAGA world now disgusted with Trump and convinced that maybe he's in the Epstein files, Trump needs a news story, a distraction. And voila! There is Tulsi Gabbard accusing Barack Obama of cooking intelligence. And Gabbard is also throwing around the word treason. And it's a lot easier for right-wing media to echo Gabbard's claim about Obama and treason than it is to acknowledge the bipartisan conclusions reached 8 years ago and articulate the distinctions between Russia's election meddling efforts and Russia's successes. Also, Gabbard herself seemed to be on the verge of getting fired last month when she publicly contradicted Donald Trump's assessments about Iran's nuclear capabilities just before Donald Trump ordered a U.S. attack on Iran. At one point, Donald Trump said publicly he didn't care what Gabbard said. Well, now, Donald Trump does care because Gabbard is helping Trump try to get MAGA world to move on from the Epstein files by reigniting MAGA passions against Barack Obama. The problem, of course, is that anybody who has actually followed the Russian interference story or read the intelligence assessments knows that Gabbard is peddling crap. And social media, at least on the Democratic side, is having a field day shredding Tulsi Gabbard.
Hashtag holy airball. As soon as that came out from Tulsi Gabbard, I guarantee you probably a dozen Republican senators called the Trump office and said, "What in the hell did you just do, you moron?" And Tulsi Gabbard is all alone right now. Certainly not the first person in a Trump administration to do something at the request of Donald Trump and then look like a moron when she did it. So she's going to be alone.
Tulsi Gabbard is alone, and everybody in Washington knows it. But the only person who matters to Gabbard may be Donald Trump. And it's long been clear that Donald Trump will forgive, forget, and love anybody who sings his praises and does his dirty work. And there is bipartisan agreement that Tulsi Gabbard, politically and ethically now, is dirty. By the way, the Trump administration's ICE agents are being smacked with another lawsuit, this time from a U.S. Army combat veteran who ICE assaulted.
Immediately after breaking my window, another agent sticks his arm through and sprays me with OC in the face, and they continue to drag me out of the car.
That is George Redis, an American citizen and a U.S. Army combat veteran. On Fox News Now, he described his recent arrest by Trump administration ICE agents.
Throw me to the ground. Takes multiple officers to detain me for some reason, even though I have OC on my face and I can't breathe. My hands are already behind my back. I have an agent kneeling on my back and another agent kneeling on my neck. All while I'm telling them I can't breathe because of the OC in my face and the tear gas in my lungs.
Check out that story at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.